What do you have to say this? That is the most deadly weapon in the entire world. And his sidekick. He likes to say his name all the time. His name is... And today's date is Sunday, May 18th. 17th, you're right. 17th, 1987, in Waverly Hall, Georgia. May we have a word for our records from you?
What?
Ah, yes, that's a word. And the entire vocabulary of this person consists of... And there you have it. Join us next week for... In concert. Hold on just a second. We have another sound bite here. He declines to comment.
Yeah, if you're outside, crossfetch will run from you. What's his name again? Short stack?
Yeah.
He runs.
He's got the hots.
It's me.
That's what he's afraid of. Now, what was that you said a little while ago, Ken?
What's that?
We gotta go out there.
Shannon.
Because Ken wants to do some funny stuff.
You get it in Please, Walt.
I'll do a real fast game and you're gonna lose.
I know I can run pretty good
And
now.
if I catch you, you're it.
Okay,
First, Ken, I gotta waste these guys, then I'll be out there.
Alright, well, we can't use the TARDIS as base anymore because it no longer exists. Ken's dropping me.
Ken, you're mean.
Okay.
Alright, this is base.
Alright.
Who's it?
Okay, it is up though.
I guess I'll be it, so I can hurry up and waste you. Signing off for a moment. I'm back and I got little George. He's it. He's looking for Brian and Shannon up in the top of the shed. And Ken is waiting in the barn with his tape recorder to record funny stuff. No, there it is, Ken, just from his truck with 2 new tapes. And there's little George talking to them in the shed. Say something to them, little George. And if you can hear it, if this mic will pick it up, Brian and Shannon on top of the shed banging on top of this, on the tin. And Ken will be calling for me soon to do funny stuff. Ken, Wendy, and little George are over today. And Shannon is over today. We now approach the barn and you can hear funny stuff going on. Ken recorded a certain television news show. And I sign off for the moment. Ken and I are now going to be making a dual recording. He's going to tell us about the Windsor Hotel. Go right ahead, Ken.
Well, you know, down in the Windsor Hotel Americas, sometimes we used to go down there and use the bathroom. We get out, we go in there and the place look spooky looking. And one time I climbed up on a trash can, looking over them pipes in there. And all of a sudden you pulled a paper towel out of that paper towel box on the wall.
Made a lot of noise too.
Yeah, and it scared me and I had to jump down right quick. It didn't take us long to get out of there then.
I remember that place real good too. And I remember that day very well. That was there was Ken standing looking over that wall, that half wall, at the pipes and girders. There was something I wanted to tell Brian earlier, that we used to drink water from dippers down there in the kitchen at Grandma's house. And there were 2 kinds of dippers. There was an enameled one that was sort of heavy. You know, it's white enamel with black trim. And then we also had a real light tin one, or aluminum one. And the aluminum would get real cold when you dip it in the water. And I know that I used to never like to drink out of the one that was enameled because the water didn't taste as good out of it as it did in the light one.
You remember that time I was up there walking around inside a whale?
Yes. One of those times that Ken decided to scare the death out of me.
What about when we used to go up there and throw bricks in the whale?
You make a nice sploosh.
What about when I used to climb up inside the barn and Walt was too scared to come up there?
Yeah, and to this day I've never been up inside that barn. Now I guess I never will.
I put boards up on the rafters and I said, ain't no way you can fall, but you still wouldn't come up there.
No, I wouldn't believe it. What do you gonna say, bro?
Star Trek comic you wanted. So is the caption Orion Attacks?
Could be.
Because it's up at the Minute Market.
Is it?
Yep.
Let me know when you're ready to get it.
Okay, give me
I mean, really, yeah.
Oh, I can't go up there.
What about
Power
Sunday
flat.
time?
He'll take you up.
What about Sunday time? You'd have lively benevolence on there.
Uh-huh.
And on the way home it'd be dark. And Karen and Lisa and all y'all, they scared someone gonna jump on the car and break in.
Uh-huh. And Mama will remember something like that. What it was, you know, we used to go wash clothes in America, so the laundromat.
Yeah.
And that was always a drag. But that's where I came to like Fresca that I can never find nowadays.
Oh, yeah, you found it once and that's it.
Yeah. And anyway,
Good monkey.
that was little George sneezing, blowing his brains out. You're gonna live if I have to blow your brains out. Anyway, we used to make Mama mad, us kids did, when we were at the laundromat. And Ken included. What the hell? What's your problem, dog? And anyway, Mama got real mad at us one day, and we were on the way home back to Grandma's house, and Mama wasn't saying a word. She's sitting in the front seat, and she was driving, and she wasn't saying a word. And we'd say stuff to Mama, and she would not respond to us. And then we got around to, I think they took Mama, and they switched her with a robot. So that's really a robot driving. And,
Hold
no,
it. I'm out of tape.
I paused for the moment.
And crank back it.
Oh yeah, that's right. There it did on time. Anyway, we got ourselves so convinced, including Ken, that Mama was no longer Mama driving in the front seat, that she was a robot driving up there. And Mama said that she got so tickled at that idea that us little kids sitting in the back seat in the dark there, that's not Mama anymore. Somebody switched to robot. Switched her for a robot. I think Mama said it was Ken that suggested the idea. And then we all got ourselves convinced that it was true, including Ken.
I don't remember who started it.
Do you remember that incident at all?
Nah.
I don't know if I remember it actually happening, but I remember Mama telling me about it. And little George is over there eating green plums like a cow.
You're gonna get sick of the stomach.
Why don't you pull your pants up? The seat of your pants is nearly touching your knees.
Hey, what about that time Karen and Bessie got mad at each other, and Karen decided she's gonna get even, and she decided to get some nails and put on behind every tie.
That's right. Yeah, let me see. Karen couldn't have been. Karen must have been in the first. Karen must have been in the first grade, first or second grade, and she got these huge nails stuck in front and back of each tire on the station wagon sitting beside the trailer at Grandma's house.
You remember them times y'all would come over to the house away from the trailer, and then y'all would head back. And then you'd walk on ahead, we'd hide behind a bush, and then when Karen and Lisa walked by, we'd jump out and scare them.
That was fun, too.
And then Bess would get mad.
We were good kind of guys. You remember when we used to play under the trailer?
Yeah.
And dig around in there? Like, I remember one time I was sitting out in front of the trailer, but underneath it, right in front, and digging around under there. I think it was Karen, you, and me. Lisa may have been there. And you dug up this yellow plastic sword. Actually, it's a yellow plastic dagger. And you decided this must be from the Silver War. Not the Civil War, but the Silver War. That was hysterical.
We actually killed each other with those things.
And we believed it, that it was from the Silver War.
What about that time I went with Tom Stevens and drove his truck through the fence?
Yeah.
And then the next day when I come in from school, I went out there to go ride a bicycle.
And it was
about tire was gone.
For a month, mysteriously.
I thought that it was flat and they took the time to fix it. but it wasn't there.
No, he wasn't being that thoughtful.
He found out about me running a truck in the fence.
And he was going to fix your wagon.
Which wasn't broken.
That's right.
How many times have I sneezed now?
No, please, I don't want to.
That could be. I could be in the Guinness Book of World Record for sneezing the most times on purpose. I'm not congested anymore.
Please. I also remember, what do I remember? No, that wagon of yours down there. And one of us would you and I would switch off. First I would get inside, and you would push me around the yard. And I'd steer with the tongue of the wagon.
Sometimes we rode down a hill.
Yeah, that was fun. It was also fun though when you would push, because then it was like a little car. And then you get in, I push you around. And sometimes you would pull me in the wagon and turn a corner at 98 miles an hour, and suddenly you'd be dragging the wagon on its side behind me, and I'd be laying there in the back here, Ken, come back!
I think I remember something.
He was.
I think I remember something about we was pulling the wagon. Well, I think we were running with it, and Lisa decided she wanted to get in. We kept running. She grabbed it there for a minute, and then she lost hold to it.
And fell.
Yeah, and then a two went through a lip.
Ooh,
And she went to screaming.
I think I remember that. I remember another time that Mom told me about this one. That one time Granddad was out in the yard working, doing something, and all of a sudden he heard Lisa screaming at the top of her lungs. He dropped everything he was doing, went running in a panic to go check on her. What it was Lisa, I don't know, had gotten a thorn in her finger or something like that, and there was a little drop of blood. And she was screaming at the top of her lungs about that little drop of blood, and he was rather upset by that. How dare you give me heart failure like that over a little drop of blood? I remember Grandmama's garden. They had a tall fence around it.
Oh, yeah.
And there were plum trees in there. Yeah, these plum trees had thorns on them.
And what about those fig bushes?
Yeah, I remember the fig bushes too.
Now, I think about 3 or 4 about Uncle Horace.
Yeah, because I think it was Uncle Horace's house that I got a cup full of June bugs. And I was going to bring them home, but Mom said, absolutely not. So I took the cup like this, and I just slung the contents straight up in the air. All these dots went flying up in the air, and they all scattered.
You remember sometime when Aunt Lois and Uncle Dave and all them used to come out there to Uncle Horace?
Mm-hmm.
Sometime we'd go up and eat dinner with them.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good memories. Sitting there in the kitchen, and grandmother and Uncle Horace and them had these cabinets with glasses in them, with little curtains in front of them. You pull back the curtain and get a glass out of it. We used to drink tea out of snuff glasses. Do you remember one time we were, I think it was at Uncle Horace's house when grandmother was living up there. You and I went into her room and tasted some snuff.
That made us sick right quick.
We didn't care for that. Nope.
I think one time when I started smoking, you tried it and you didn't like it.
That's because I was on fire. You smoke when you're on fire? Yeah, I remember one time you had a cold, and you used to carry around the radio about this size, and you said that you made a deal with God that if He would take your cold away, then you'd listen to church on Sunday, listen to the sermon on the radio.
I remember that.
You were sitting in your clubhouse out back.
You remember that old Ford that was show lay out there in the back?
I was kind of scared to open the doors and look inside because there's a spider webby in there with all the stuff piled up.
Yeah, we started using it for storage shed.
Mm-hmm. Was all the stuff left in it when it was hauled away and
I put a lot of that stuff under the shed out there.
Oh, really?
Hey, did y'all know this is titty cut off?
What?
You're going to get sick of your stomach. You'll play hooky tomorrow.
He's playing hooky now with sanity. God, that was a near miss. Woo!
Hey.
Thank you.
I put mine on hold a minute.
Got him that time. That was a good shot there.
Walt just hit Blind in the head with a plum.
Ooh.
And Blind throws one back.
Got me right in the shoulder. I'm hit, man.
Hey, win again.
It's easy to aim with
Hit
these.
each other again.
And here's our commentator.
Walt threw another and missed.
That was the worst one, Brian, because he hit eating off it.
Blind threw one and missed.
Darn. I'll get him this time.
Caught that one.
I did. Clean miss. This is a civil war. The war between brothers. Just plumb crazy, I guess. Ooh, you almost hit Ken that time. Of course, we have this on record for posterity's sake.
Well, you remember that room I built on the front porch?
Yeah, dude, that was a good place too. That's where I learned to love Johnny Cash.
I'll quit throwing fun.
And appreciate tea without ice.
Quit, Brian.
I just gotta get one more
Well,
time.
quit. Quit.
Gross, he's sick.
Hey. Y'all always say that one time y'all went to Maryland or somewhere and then y'all come back, the screen door, the porch was screened in. And then y'all left, come again, and it was something else different.
Yeah, he's always, I know engineers, they love to change things. Ken must have been an engineer, has it in his blood.
Y'all say y'all come back one time, there was a room built there.
That's right. And
y'all come back again, it was made a little bit bigger.
And I used to spend a lot of time down there when we come down there. That's where I'd spend the nights or the weekends.
You used to say sometimes you used to be on the top bunk, and all of a sudden I kicked the bottom of it, and you jump up there.
Yeah, I'd be laying there nice and peaceful on the top bunk, nearly asleep, and suddenly I'd get this microscopic close-up of the ceiling. And I would have this happen repeatedly, in repeated succession, and that's where I learned to become a skydiver. Yeah, Ken would have good old fun down there. Let's see how high I can get him tonight. All together now. Whoomp.
Oh yeah, the day when window never was up, I seen on that car, they had a bumper sticker that said, paratrooper, do it in the air.
That was well conceived. Oh my.
Oh my.
I have to pause for the moment to see if Lisa's here. It is 5:56 p.m.
Do down there.
Used to ride the bicycle down in the woods.
Oh yeah.
By the garden, that long path. Isn't that the one that Granddaddy fell in?
I think it is.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it goes on.
yeah. Hold on just a second. And that was the path that he fell in. That's the one that we used to ride the bicycle down the steep path beside the garden.
Yeah, you remember out down by the road, it was a ditch there, and I made a bridge over it.
Yeah, I remember that. There were several bridges. Let me see. There's one over that one.
Yeah.
Then there was another one.
Going out to the garden.
Yeah, and one was there one up toward the barn?
I may have one up there one time.
I remember those.
You remember sometime y'all be down there and it'd go raining a long time and flooding like, and sometimes the bridge would wash down the hill.
That was a deep ditch there too.
Yeah.
And the last time that we went down there, when I took those photographs of Sumter County, that ditch was no longer deep at all. It scraped it down. The road, I guess, scraped it even with the ditch or something.
And I guess everything been landscape like.
I remember farther down where the maypops were, there were those clay hills at a slant coming down.
Oh yeah.
And it was like humps.
Oh,
You
yeah.
remember those?
Oh, yeah. You remember going down there at the bottom of the hill, going down there in that sewer pipe?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I remember that, yeah. And one of us would get on one side, the other on the other, and we'd look through.
Yeah.
It's funny what some of the things that just suddenly come back to mind.
And what about sometime, how the well would be? It'd be real deep, and sometime after a lot of rain, it'd be nearly half full.
Yeah, that was a deep well too. Yeah, you could see the stream that fed it going through it.
Did you see them boards and all that were down in the bottom?
I don't know if I remember those. Maybe I do. When it was maybe when the well was sort of drying up. Maybe they would show. Was that when?
Oh yeah, I think so. Sometimes you had to get the bucket to go in a hole away from the boards.
I see. Yeah. Did the well used to have boards all the way up the inside at one time? Or?
I don't know about that. I think it was some kind of curbing thing they had at the bottom of it.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh, you remember Alcoholic water be tasting odd?
Yeah, I never did like his. I wonder why. It must have been a different stream.
I really. I know that man that got to play now. He drilled another well up there.
But yeah, he must have not liked the taste of it.
You remember that garden they had up there?
I don't quite remember. Where would it be? Close to the barn, was it?
Well,
Or
you remember
behind the
where
barn?
the cow shelter was?
It was right behind there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember.
And there used to be the toilet back there.
Yeah, now that I
And
remember.
then it was behind it.
Yeah. No wonder that garden grew so well. I also remember grandmother's greenhouse.
Oh yeah.
You know, that pit in the ground with the greenhouse top on it. That was kind of spooky to me. And then there's that tree out back of the house, which was actually the front of the house. And there's a big dead oak tree or something out there that's been struck by lightning a bunch of times. And the front porch, which we always consider the back porch, has a bunch of wasps on it.
Oh. I remember one time Ray was up here. Me and him went up back to St. Clair's, and she brought in a bunch of clothes and put them in a chair. And I seen it fall. At the time I didn't know what it was, and I picked it up and said, "What is this here?"
It's a double barrel slingshot.
Girl, you told me to put that down, ain't none of your business.
Well.
There was another time I made a little house. I just laid it together, and me and Ray was in there, and then we heard a chicken go to running and everything. I looked out a crack to see who it was, and there was Clarice.
That's right.
That's Clarice out there. And Ray got excited, jumped up and knocked the building out.
And the house come tumbling down. I remember when he would come, that's hot, kitty.
Oh. You remember like them chickens used to roost in the tree over that car?
Yeah, and the top of the car was covered with some pretty stuff.
Especially the fender.
Mm-hmm.
In the last few years, that fender was beginning to rust out.
I guess that ate it up. And the top of the car was dented in from like where we would walk on it and jump on it, and it would hold a puddle of water.
And sometimes we go inside and knock it back up.
Yeah. Yeah, I really remember real well sniffing the gasoline out of it. It was always fun to do. Kitty.
You remember that time when y'all had that trailer put in down there? We was thinking about putting a pump in the wheel. And Tom Stevens went up through there with a plow and dug a ditch for the pipe. And we never did put a pump in.
I remember that, yeah. Because I remember that little ditch would kind of fill in over the years.
And later on, I remember I got a lawnmower and I started making paths down through there.
Yeah, I remember that. And then you made some little bridges in there, yeah.
I know I made one to start with, and later I went over farther and made another one.
I really wish we could go back in time to that time. I'm about to run out of tape here.
Do you remember the chapel down there?
Yeah. The other ones who had the stone cross in their front yard.
I think it was. You remember that windmill?
Oh, okay. And was it falling apart?
I don't know. It looked spooky looking.
Mm-hmm. You don't see very many of those around.
No.
Colonel Crutlow, who I used to work for, he had a windmill in his yard, on his place. It had fallen apart.
I remember sometime I used to go down the wood, and there was the wood, and use an axe or a hand saw. That's how I keep asking Dad, why don't you go buy a chainsaw? And he said it cost too much money.
That's right. Why don't we buy a truck with it? if the chainsaw costs the money. I remember, I always have good memories of like waking up at Grandma's house in the mornings, and you could hear the radio playing in the kitchen. Generally, I remember a Piggly Wiggly advertisement song it would play, and you could hear Grandma making biscuits in the kitchen.
You put, remember that Reverend Waingham?
I'm not sure if I remember.
He was Waingham from Brooklyn